Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Open pools have been decided. It's out. The public knows, and already people are reacting absolutely crazy. It's funny to see, man. The show was good. Had fun on there with Merck.
It was a good time. I always like hanging out with Joe. He's
fantastic.
He's handsome, intelligent, graceful, married.
That's the upsetting part, is that his wife took him before I could get to him. But either way, Dallas is going to be incredible. These 4 pools, Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, and Pool D. We're going to go into each one across the next few videos and really break down our thoughts, talk about each team, maybe give our predictions, just kind of get the feeling ready for this first major event of the Call of Duty World War II season. Pool A is this first video. And before we even introduce the teams, is this on your Pool of Death radar?
Well, if you watched the show, I think I said when it popped up, I was like, yeah, it might be it for me, or it's close, and Joe was like, no, this isn't it. But it depends how people rank Pool of Death. Like, is it that if it has the 2 best teams, or is it the hardest to like get into that second spot? People kind of say it differently, but it's up there. It's one of the tougher pools. No question asked.
So break it down for us. Who are the 4 teams in Pool A?
All right, so let's start at the top. You know, holding that basically #1 spot, they've dominated the North American 2Ks. You're gonna have Optic Gaming sitting at the top. They're joined with the North American team, Enigma 6. You have Unilad, which is going to be Wuskin, Scraps. You then have Moose and Shawnee on that team, and then to round it out is Envy. Now I want to start.
And then to round it out is Envy.
Exactly. Well, that's where I think we begin this conversation, because I think the thing that makes this pool as scary as it is the fact that the 4th team to come in, like your final pod that you pull, is Envy, which is. I mean, that's what makes it scary. Exactly. You would think they'd be coming out in the second pod, or already in the first.
Exactly, and you know, that team being stacked now into this pool doesn't really happen if Envy winds up performing well in the final 2K.
Exactly. So let's kind of talk through Envy's 2Ks, right? So I've got notes over here if you see me looking over. But you know, the first 2K they do not great. Well, actually, they don't do great. They didn't get top 16. They lose to Rise. They get top 16. They didn't bounce back big in the next one. They get top 4. They end up getting knocked out by Optic. I believe it was a swift 3-0. You saw, I think Temp was chirping a little bit. Karma comes back. And
Karma was good.
You're playing for one of the best Boots players. You can still call me daddy or something like that. He said in a tweet. But yes, what makes this interesting then is they come in to the final pool play, or the final 2K. And remember, Aches and I believe, was it Aches and Slash were chirping a little bit, or Aches and Temp, I think, and they said, Aches was like, you're going to lose to Echo Fox, blah, 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 blah. And that was their top 32 matchup. They get knocked out in round of 32. We weren't sure that day if they were going to even make it into pool play.
It was one of those things where Temp was tweeting out, what are the scenarios? This is no longer in our hands. Someone let me know, where do we currently stand?
How scary is that?
There's so many question marks around that. Obviously, the 2K was still ongoing. They don't have the performance they want. They're going to have to bounce back. Thankfully for them, again, and to keep in mind, there is still one more 2K before the CWL Dallas Open this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is it doesn't count for, the pro points don't count for the actual pools. It only counts for the open bracket teams. So it's really, if anything, it's just practice.
Yeah. Well, let's go through each of the teams, and then maybe we can talk on predictions and stuff. But let's just go through them each. So let's go over to the Unilad roster now. Now, obviously,
really quick, just to reestablish people at home. Just remember, this NB team now completely changed. I don't think we've even said the roster. Slasher, Classic, Temp, and Hook.
Good information.
That's there's so many storylines there, and we'll get into it a little bit more in the video. But yeah, Unilad, newly announced organization with Scraps, Wuskin, Moose, and Shawnee, an EU team that I think is the perfect word to describe them, is has potential, but I don't expect them to be the #1 EU team.
Literally, it is Fnatic last year for me.
Yeah.
Different roster, yes, but that's how I felt about Fnatic all last year. Like they have the pieces, they have the talent. Like maybe they can crack through, and they had a couple great finishes, right? Like it really was at stage 2. I can't remember exactly, but they had some good finishes. We're like, damn, that's how good this team can be. Yeah. But never consistently at the top. So I guess that's how I still feel. I'm hoping to be proven wrong because I love the Twins. I want to see what they're capable of. But when you look back at the 2Ks, I mean, everyone kind of eventually ran into the brick wall that was Splice or Red for the most part.
100%.
We'll see if it changes on land, but it's hard to have like high expectations. I want to.
Yeah, but. And I think the big thing too is one of the 2Ks, was getting late. Scraps wasn't feeling well, and he was tweeting out like it was a big reason why they kind of lost and bottomed out in like the top 6 or whatever, or top 8 or top 4, whatever it was. Either way, this team for me, Scraps and Wuskin, I think, did a lot of their proving themselves in the last year, right? Scraps broke out in Black Ops 3, Wuskin then gets the opportunity in IW. There's a reason why they still have players like Moose on this team, a veteran, you know, in the European scene.
Moose,
they have the skill. They have the skill.
Has something to prove too.
Yeah, his stock went way down in jetpacks.
Until IW, and then IW he was fantastic, but before that, yes, I mean he was off the map. I mean there was a point where, remember all the stuff when it was it TCM when TPNX were on that team? Yeah. They were like, just he is ass.
He got cooked. He got cooked.
But he really bounced back last year, and it was impressive. He was considered in the conversation for like one of the most skilled players in Europe for a while there. So we'll have to see if he can keep that going.
That was the only European team in this pool. Next up is E6, which is General, the only face that stays on this roster from the IW season. Bevels, Decimate, and Dashy. Now, Dashy began playing Respawn, you know, midway through IW. Decimate and Bevels were both Search and Destroy stars. Now, part of the big group that kind of switched on over to Variant. They have a couple good performances, or decent enough performances, one a little bit more of a rough 2K, but they make it on in pretty handily.
Well, I think this comes down to one series, and there's one series that sort of defined the road for the two teams big time. I mean, you think about the first 2K. It's, I believe, it was a round of 16, so it was E United and E6. I think it was a 5-game series. E6 takes that. That win was so pivotal, because think about E United, how scary it was for them to get in. E6 was in cruise control because they get top 16 in the next one, which isn't good. They lost to EG. They get top 8, in which they lose to United, then in kind of a rematch. Fun, but top 16, top 8, you're probably not getting in there. But that first top 4, one, it set them up for much easier roads through the next couple of 2Ks. So like that, their entire being here is just that one series for me to some degree. I mean, winning that was just massive.
Absolutely, and I mean, again, them getting top 8 even in the last one helped seal the deal for them. This is a team that, again, one for me where General has proved, he can play with the best of the ARs in the game. He really, again, got his breakout in Jetpack. So even for him, people are like, how's he going to do this here? Sort of thing, moving on in towards boots on the ground. E6 is a team, though, that I'm excited to watch, because this is, realistically for me, 3/4 of an S&D top caliber team, right? With those 3 S&D stars now turning Variant. They just need to win every Search and Destroy. I think General tweeted the other day, like, we can't afford to lose S&Ds in best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about this team in a later episode, but I kind of have them and Ground Zero lumped together in a way, just because, well, I mean, similar stories. You bring in young talent, you bring in the Search and Destroy guys, but I didn't follow. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Search now, and I know a lot of the players really well now, but I didn't follow it nearly as much as you. So typically, if I'd heard of the players, they're pretty damn good if they're on my radar. And I hadn't heard of Bevels yet, honestly, but Decimate is a guy that I followed on Twitter ages ago. I've seen him play a lot. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do. It's gonna be great. Now, I think they have a chance to shock people. I mean, think back to, what was it, the first tournaments where you sometimes see some upsets. It was the first event for IW in Vegas where they 3-0'd Optic in pool play. Yeah, I believe it made things a little bit interesting. Optic got revenge later, but S&D, I'm rambling here, I know, sorry, but S&D is so big at the first event, because think about how different it was over the course of the year. Like, Rise wins the first event. S&D was there especially. They were so good in Search. They win that first event. Their S&D fell off later in the year, but I don't know, man. If they come in and play good Search, like,
take one respawn,
you're going to be able to beat people, man.
100%. Oh, it's going to be exciting to watch that team. We'll move on to the final squad, the number 1 seed in all of the CWL Dallas Open. It's none other than Optic Gaming, the Green Wall, Formals, lover Maven here. Excited to see him play some Call of Duty World War II on land. Yeah. I mean, it's what I'm actually most excited to see about this team is obviously it has been, from a slang standpoint, very much the Scump and Formal show over the past couple of years. Yes.
I don't know if that will hold true. It hasn't exactly from what I've seen thus far. They've all been kind of balanced. Crim's had some games where he's going off. No one's really stood out that much for me outside of Crim in some series. So, I mean, balance will be fine for these guys. They'll win with that. But I'm just kind of curious to see if, I guess, what changes for them on boots on the ground. But I still see them as, right now, sort of the unbeatable final boss.
I mean, we'll get into predictions, but I mean, this team won 2 of the NA 2Ks, one beating LG in the final, the other beating LG in the final, and then a top 4 where they lost to E United in Game 5, round 11.
You know how controversial that was.
Yes, there was all sorts of drama with that. Out of 13,000 viewers were watching Clayster's round count in the bottom left of the screen, which is crazy. Wow. The big thing, though, is in the second 2K, Optic actually beat Envy 3-0 in the semis. You mentioned it a little bit earlier. There was some kind of banter back and forth. And there's always been a history with this old lineup, this Envy lineup that used to be Denial way back in Advanced Warfare. Hook and Temp, I mean, these guys battled against Optic multiple times in Grand Finals events. Hook, I'm pretty sure, matched Optic 5 times in AW at like the age of 16.
See, I'm going to stick with it, even though Envy started slow. I said as soon as this team came together, they were in that top 2, top 3 conversation. They will be battling Optic all year. As soon as I saw the roster, that's what I felt.
Let's just start the predictions. Is this,
yeah,
are you gonna...
no, yes, I guess we can. But like, my point was going to be, I just don't think they're there yet.
Okay.
I don't think this Envy team has what it takes to beat them on land yet. I could be wrong, but I think a couple months down the road, I absolutely think these guys are going to maybe go toe to toe. But right now, that's tough.
So I think, Optic fan or not, Call of Duty expert or not, if you've watched Call of Duty Esports, outside of being on E6, on Unilad, on Envy, or being a fan of those teams, I think everyone's taking Optic as first in this pool, right? That's safe to say. We don't even need to discuss that, okay? So get that through your head.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be a time where Optic was really, slow starters on Fridays sometimes.
Yes.
That conversation kind of got buried mostly last year. Like,
I think a lot of it got figured out.
Remember back in AW was a big thing, but we haven't really talked about it too much as far as their struggles in pool play.
So them at the first spot, no doubt. Now we've got E6, Unilad, and Envy. Obviously looking at that second place spot in this pool. Now, first I'll say, if you had to pick one of those 3 teams,
it would still be Envy for me.
Okay.
If I was picking, my safe pick would be Envy, but I can, as much as that's my safe pick, I don't have that much confidence in the sense that, yes, I think Enigma 6 could beat Envy on any given day.
Yeah.
I do. I know we haven't seen a lot yet. We haven't seen anything on my end, but I still just, I don't know, my gut kind of tells me they could, especially if it comes down to Search and Destroy. And as far as Unilad, would you be shocked if Unilad somehow beats E6 and all of a sudden is pushing a game 4 or 5 versus Envy? I'd just be like, oh, well,
there's the EUs again.
Yeah.
Always causing trouble. I'm with Envy as well. Looking at this pool, do I think that this is one where an open bracket team can make waves? Now, I don't know exactly how the open bracket kind of feeds in, but isn't...
they get the hardest team.
Exactly.
They get the high seed. I'm 98% sure.
98% sure. So
that's why...
Take that with a grain of salt.
That's why I said this could be the pool of death, because I think I knew that, and I was like, yeah, well, it might end up being that.
Exactly.
They get a phase. Or
still with that, I don't think it affects anything in this.
So who, real quick, maybe we probably should have a separate show on open brackets.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you already tweet that out?
Come on, buddy. That's in the plans, buddy. Open bracket preview.
I was about to just like change the shows we're talking about right now.
Clint, we got one more 2K where the pro points affect the open bracket. We gotta wait and see how the seats get adjusted there, buddy boy.
I played wagers till 5:30 a.m. and slept about 2 hours.
It's all right. So we're both going with Optic Envy as our 1-2 in this pool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's our predictions and thoughts on this pool A. Let us know if you like this video, what you want to see adjusted for pools B, C, and D. Well, if I'm being completely honest, we're going to record pool B right after this.
Yeah, I'll have the same shirt on.
But pool C and D, you'll be able to give thoughts on, because that one we're recording tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. But yeah, pool A in the books. Be sure to stay tuned tomorrow for pool B. Love ya.